now makes his arms flap a whole lot faster. Hello again. Welcome to another adventure with the Yeti family. Today we're going to make some custom characters to show on the LCD here. So I gave the kids a sheet similar to this one where they could color in some squares to make some shapes.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to come back to that in a little bit to see what they did. But for now, we're going to start with the example that they have here in the tutorial. Bless you. Both the kids are a little bit sick right now. It's that time of year. So in the example here, they already give us some shapes. So later on, we'll see what the kids drew and put that in. But for now, let's start with the example, okay?
Okay.
Just to see how it works. Once we know how it works, we can put in our own. Now, if we take a step back actually and look at what we have on the board, remember last time we replaced the potentiometer with these resistors,
Yes.
right? Well, when I was doing my testing earlier, this was actually not nearly as dark as it is right now. It was very hard to see. So the reason potentiometers are used for the the contrast, is because the temperature of the display will change how dark it is, and so you need to adjust to be able to make it visible.
Yeah.
Fortunately, during my testing, it warmed up. Everything's back to where it was before. It's still a bit more visible now, but I was ready to put the backlight back, the contrast back on the potentiometer, and then we would use something else for the project. But we don't need to do that. We're good. So I already put the potentiometer on the board because it's a little bit of a pain to put on, but here are the wires. We'll wire them up together. So if we bring the instructions back, we see that there are some things that we need to type in here. But if we scroll down to the bottom, because I already read the whole thing, I know there's a part here at the bottom where we're going to need some extra wires. Okay? So it says here to read the potentiometer on A0. Now, the potentiometer here, we need to wire up one side to the positive. You might remember this from last time we did this, right?
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And we need to wire up the other side to the black, to the negative, okay? And then we'll be able to twist this. And as we twist it, we adjust the voltage that will be measured off the middle, okay? All the way to one side will be 0, all the way to the other one to the 5. Yes, now there is a white wire. So I chose the white wire, so it's a different color than the others. If I hold it over the desk, it's hard to see, but over my keyboard you can see it. I have this white wire. It's long enough to reach from the potentiometer. So I'm going to plug it in over here in the middle. And then bring it over to A0 on the Arduino. So on the Arduino, the A0 is an analog in. A for analog. A just means that you can have multiple levels. So digital is 0 or 1. There's two options. Digital's on, off. And then analog can be anything in between. It can be all this sorts of options. So this right here measures analog input. So if you remember from last time, we had the digital multimeter, right? Let's get it in the light better. So the digital multimeter could measure multiple things using these, right?
And we will use it again.
We might use it again later today, but we don't need it today because the Arduino is going to do the measuring for us. This right here is an in. We can use it to measure things, similar to how we could use these to measure things. Okay? So we're going to use that during the program to decide how long something's going to take. That will make more sense later when I'll explain it later when we get there. Okay? So let's go back to the instructions. And we can see, right, it says to read the potentiometer on A0. So A0 is where we've plugged it in. Let's go ahead and go back up to the top. Now that we have the wires ready. at the top of our application, we have the same wires here. We don't need to add one for A0 because A0 is already named. But these other ones, we already have all set up. So what's new here? Well, there are some custom characters. These custom characters are actually just a set of numbers. They're just a bunch of numbers. But if you look closely, right, you'll see that they are zeros and ones. There's a 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, right? So what this means is these zeros and ones, what they mean are which part of the LCD is going to be on. So you might remember that paper that I showed you, right? This grid is this way for a reason. There's 5 by 8. And I have a drawing here on the table that I did my own, right? Where I have 5 by 8. And so, but I colored in some of these squares. And the parts that are colored in are the ones, are the parts on the screen that are going to be black. And to tell which ones are going to be black, right? It's the ones that are a 1. So in these numbers here, the zeros are off and the ones are on. Now, this chart here was 5 by 8, right? Well, if you look at this, there's 5 numbers across. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 down. So each of these is a collection of numbers. They're a collection of bytes. We can talk about bytes some other time. They're a collection of numbers that represent a drawing. So there's a heart, there's a smiley, there's a frowny, there's an arms down and an arms up. And then now we need to fix our setup so we can use them. So if we come back over here, there's some parts of the setup that are different than what we have right now.
Yeah.
Yeah? Now, I don't want to lose everything because in the future, I want to combine these custom characters with some of the things that we did before. So I'm just going to comment this part out, right? So I'm going to leave it here, but I'm just going to leave it commented out. I'm going to set our LCD back to use 2 lines. We need that. Okay. Comment these out. You know, I'm going to comment out this whole loop, and then I'm just going to make a new loop here. So what we need in the loop is a part that's going to use the potentiometer. But I haven't quite gotten there yet. We still need to finish setup. So in setup, we need to get the characters ready. So all those custom characters, I'm just going to copy these over. So let's actually type out one. So one of them is LCD, and then we're going to create character. So we're going to create char, and we need to number it. This is the first one. So we're going to give it the number 0 because we start at 0. This can only have 8 unfortunately, because it can't fit much inside. But it's going to be a 0. And then we need to tell it, well, what is 0 supposed to be? 0 is one of these collections of numbers. We want it to be the heart. So if I type in heart here, this is telling the LCD, when I ask you to draw 0, draw the heart. Draw the bytes that are here in the heart. Okay? So now we're going to do it for the other ones. Just copy these ones over. All right, so we have a smiley, we have the frowny, the arms down, arms up. Now they're all ready to use. Okay, so let's go ahead and use one of them. If we...
The pinky monsters.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to set the cursor up to the top left. And then we're going to print something out. So we're going to start with I. And then we're going to write a number, right? Those 5 characters all have a number, right? There's 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we want the heart now. So we need to write the 0. We just need to tell the Arduino, though, the compiler, that we just need to tell the program we're using the number 0, not to print an actual 0. If we just put in a 0 and we printed it, it would print out a 0. But we want to write the number 0. So we're telling it that we want the heart. Okay, so we're calling it a byte 0. And now we're going to say print Arduino. And then we're going to type out the next thing. And so we're going to write, this time we're going to write a 1, and the 1 is
Smiley.
smiley. Very good. So now when we send this, it's going to take a moment, and then, oh, yep. Remember how I said that it can be hard to see with, yeah, we need to use the potentiometer because it got really dark, or really light. There we go. Now with the potentiometer, we were able to adjust it, and it's all fine again. So it has I heart Arduino.
Smile.
Smile, exactly. I heart Arduino, smile. So we used the heart and the smiley that we put in there. Now, to show you that we can make a couple of changes of our own, let's go back up to the smiley here. And notice that I drew my own smiley on the table, right? So this smiley I made a little bit different. I made the eyes a little bit taller and I gave it a nose. So if we put in a 1 and then another 1 there, and then we put a 1 down here, now when we send it, we should, bless you, see a little bit taller eyes and a nose. I just made the smiley a little bit different. Cool, huh? So it's hard to see because it's just one more little dot, okay? So the point is, it's not very hard at all. It's very easy to make your own characters for it. Now, there's one more thing that's really cool before we put yours in about this demo, and that's this part where we use the sensor. So I'm going to show you what we're going to use this wire for. Here in the loop, we need to get the reading. We need to measure what this wire is reading in the real world. Okay, so if I say analog read, that's saying get the value that's on this wire right now. Whatever's on this wire, let's read it into, and it's going to be a number. And it can be all sorts of things. So let's actually go ahead and print that out. Let's print out what the sensor reads and see how that works first before we use it. So let's print out the sensor reading. Oh, before we do that, let's move the set cursor to somewhere on the second row so we don't overwrite things. Okay, so that's going really fast. Let's slow that down a little bit. Let's put in a delay.
I think the 2 is going.
Okay, so now the number's changing a little bit, but not very fast. See, it's 300 something right now. Now, if I put it over here in the red part, it's measuring the 5-volt voltage, and now it's giving us 1,000. If I put it over here in the black, that's giving us the same value for some reason. What is going on?
It's not working.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the breadboard, isn't it? Yeah, so I'm getting 2,000, 6,000 now on the black.
I think black is my favorite color.
Okay, that was a bad spot on the breadboard. See, now that we have, if I wiggle it around just right, I'm getting 9,000 something. Oh, or maybe it's just the number is not fitting on the LCD. Actually, the number might be so big it just doesn't fit. But now if we put it over here on the resistors, we'll see that's 2,500. All right, so when you put it in different places, you get a different value out of it because it's reading the voltage of wherever you put the wire. Kind of like how we did with the multimeter. So that is how we're going to decide how long it's going to take to change the character that we want to print out. So let's go ahead and comment those out, and then we're going to get a delay time. And we're going to use a thing called map. It's just that does a little bit of math. We're going to take the sensor reading, and we're going to make sure that its numbers are smaller and more reasonable. That's all this is doing. We're saying take numbers from 0 to 1,000 and put them in 200 to 100 to 1,000. We're going to make sure that they fit within a certain range. And that's so we have numbers that make sense for the delay. So now that we have that, let's just go ahead and copy over this last bit. I missed one, so I'll type it in. So we need to set the cursor to the right place on the second line. So we need to set the cursor to the position 4 on the second line, and then we're going to paste this in. So now we're going to write number 3. 3 is the arms down, and then after the delay that we measured from the wire, we're going to print number 4, and number 4 is arms up. And then we're going to wait again. Okay, so together it's going to make his arms go up and down. It's going to be really cool. So let's go ahead and start that. And you can see his arms flapping up and down. Cool, huh? So with his arms flapping up and down like that, now let's try putting this wire in different places. Let's put it over in the black part. The black now makes his arms flap a whole lot faster, because the black is going to be a small number. A small number means it's waiting less time between changes, and so it makes the flap a whole lot faster. And so now, what do you think is going to happen if I move the wire over to the red?
It's gonna flap slower.
It's going to flap slower. Look at that. He's taking a whole second every time he flaps his arm up and down. Cool. So we can't use the potentiometer to do it because we're using the potentiometer for the contrast again. But the reason they wanted you to use the potentiometer is then you could just crank it left and crank it right, and then you could change how fast his arms are flapping. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
So I thought that was a lot of fun. Now let's get ready to put in your characters and see what you made. Okay, so now we're going to add your own little characters. So this one is going to be sisters. So I'm going to get this ready here. Now, we need to put the right numbers in here. So to do that, we need your drawing. So which one do you want to do? You want to do your thumbs down first or your 2 in the frame?
I want to do the 2 in the frame.
Okay, the 2 in the frame. So if we scoot this out of the way for a second, so that this frame here around it is going to be 1s, right? So this first line, this 0b just means take this number and call it a byte. Like I said, we can talk about bytes later. So the 0b is just so things will compile correctly but we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ones. Okay? And then on the next line, we need, what do we need? I'm gonna get 8 of these ready. So we have, the first one is filled in, so what's that?
That's a 1.
And the next is empty, so that will be
0.
And then
0.
Then
0.
And
1.
okay. So and then the next one is also all filled in, right? So let's just paste in all those ones. And then this one is a 1, 0, 0, 1, 1. All right?
Yeah.
And this one is also all filled in, so we'll paste that in. And then this one is 1,
1, 0, 0, 1.
Yeah. And then these last 2 are all filled in, so just paste that in twice. And there we go. So now we have sisters 2. And then we could have done the same idea to get your thumbs down. Pretty cool. Now we're going to do brothers, headphones, and screen on a truck. Okay, if you look closely, you can see the headphones here, and then there's a screen over there, and then there are the tires of the truck. So let's put in brothers. And so this one, I have it the wrong direction. Let's turn it this way. So the first one is all empty, right? So we need 5 zeros. Okay?
Yep.
Okay, and they all have 0 on the left, so I put in a 0 for all of them already here. And then this next one, we need a 1, 1, 0, 1. And this one is
0, 1, 1, 0, 0.
very good. And so this one's the same as the above. We got 1, 1, 0, 1. And then all zeros. And this one's a 0, 1, 1, 1, 1. This one's just 1, 1, and then 3 zeros. And this one is all the ones.
I can fit 2 things, so I just
Yeah.
it's small, so I just did that. So
Cool. So you fit 2 things in there. So now we're going to label sisters as 5, because that's the next one, and brothers as 6. So sister and brother. And then, so instead of the smiley face, let's put in a 5. And then right after that, let's put in a 6. Actually, let's go ahead and change this. We're going to have brother, and put in 6, and then sis, and put in the 5. And now when we send that over, oh, yep, I missed an E here, so now that should be right. Okay, what else did I get missed? We've got, oh, semicolons. Always missing semicolons. There we go. Okay, so now if we take a look, let's go ahead and get rid of the IDE here. Look at that. Sisters 2 is kind of hard to read it on the thing, but it came out just the same as our paper. It's just on the paper there's lines between the squares so you can tell them apart, but they aren't here. And then for brothers, we have, I can't quite get that onto the camera the right way, but if it's sideways, you can see the headphones and the screen. Pretty cool, huh?
yep.
Okay, well, next time what I want to do is put in some custom characters, and then we can use this serial thing that we did last time to type something from the computer and have it choose which one you want to show up. I think that'll be pretty fun. Okay, well, I look forward to that. I had a lot of fun. So, bye for now. Oh, let's zoom back out here. Bye for now. So I was just explaining something to the kids off camera that I thought I should actually get on camera for you as well, talking about the flapping here. So if we come back into the IDE, we'll notice that the arms down and arms up are 2 different images, 2 different characters. But with this flapping going this fast, it's not super fast, but it's fast enough that it looks like motion, right? It's moving up and down. That is animation. That is exactly how computers make things move on screen. Now, this is just one little guy moving between 2 images. But when you're watching a movie, when you're watching a video, this video on YouTube right now on your computer, it's really just a very, very big version of this that moves a whole lot faster, right? It's just one image of the video after another, but they move so quickly between one video and the next that it looks like motion. So, thought that was pretty fun. Just wanted to throw that in there on the end as well. Okay, bye for now.